Imagine selling 14,000 tickets for oral poetry. Imagine further an entire 6-7 hours of live performances broadcast on regional television as they happen, with excerpts, summaries, and expert commentary on national television. Imagine a one-day event, the final act in a multi-stage 4-year Olympian drama of qualification and elimination, galvanizing ethnic, national identity to a degree unparalleled virtually anywhere in the world. Imagine the confluence of all these phenomena, and you have the Bertsolaritza, the national championship of Bertsolaritza, the improvised contest poetry from the Basque oral tradition, which takes place every 4 years in the Basque Country since 1936. What is Bertsolaritza? The Basque Country, or Euskal Herria, is the land of Basques, a region that comprises the autonomous communities of the Basque Country and Navarre in Spain and the Northern Basque Country in France. Their language, Basque, or Euskera, classified as an isolated language, is considered the last remaining vestige of the pre-Indo-European languages of Western Europe. It is spoken by around 900,000 inhabitants in both sides of the territory. Euskera may be the oldest language in Europe, and its origins are still a mystery. However, the greatest mystery of the Basque language resides not in its origins, but in its subsistence over the centuries. Nowadays, Basque is composed of a unified version created in 1968 in 5 dialects, all of them strongly rooted into oral usage. Bertsolaritza, as a great example of the vitality of the Basque language, is one of the expressions of Basque traditions that are still very much alive. According to a survey conducted in 2006, 67% of Basque speakers follow with interest Bertsolari contests, and especially the national championship that takes place every 4 years. Bertsolaritza, the national championship of Bertsolaritza, gathers the best improvisers in quarter and semi-final rounds that take place in the 7 Basque provinces. A well-trained jury exhaustively evaluates the performance of the Bertsolaris round by round, and finally chooses the best 7 that will join the winner of the previous championship in the grand final day. The best Bertsolari of the championship must show great artistry through a various set of performative tasks, showing quick capacity of response, impaired sung conversations, and talented creativity in solo performances. Andoni Egaña, Amets Arzallus, and Mayalen Lujambio are the winners of the 21st century editions, being Mayalen the first woman ever to get the title in 2009. They're called Chapelduna, or beret holders, since the winner gets the traditional champion's cap as a symbol of his or her achievement.
John Maya.
The rules for competitive Bertsolaritza are ones straightforward and extremely demanding.
Inoiz ez bezalako besarkada eman dizu aitak.
An MC reads a topic or prompt to the contestants, who then have a few seconds, usually less than a minute, to assemble an 8-12 line poem along the pattern of a prescribed verse form that also involves a rhyme scheme. Melodies are chosen from among hundreds of traditional tunes. In other words, poets must fit their unique, never-before-realized ideas into a highly complex framework of rules and patterns, and they must accomplish all these tasks concurrently in extemporaneous performance. But what is Bertsolaritza? We know there are many oral traditions around the globe, so we decided to ask some of our siblings about how they would define Bertsolaritza in their own country.
Bertsolaritza is an oral folk tradition which has experienced incredible revitalization in recent years.
Bertsolaritza, ja, het is heel moeilijk te omschrijven. Het is een soort van improvisatiepoëzie. En er komen een heel soort elementen bij te zijn. Mensen die moeten in 20 seconden eigenlijk een vers bedenken. Ze krijgen er een onderwerp voor en een metrum.
Un guionista mental.
So the other thing I would say is it's also like a game of baseball or like football in which you never know exactly what's going to happen next.
Yo lo primero que veo es una brutal celebración de la lengua y por extensión de la cultura vasca y por tanto de la identidad.
El bertsolarisme és l'anàleg a la glosa a Catalunya. El que passa que primer he d'explicar a Catalunya què és la glosa perquè molta gent no ho sap.
Me parece impresionante a capacidade de escoita, non, das persoas que fan bercho. O silencio e a escoita, non, de quen emite.
Altre volte siamo un tema commediati, anche ad ognuno dei cantatori esiste un personaggio di una commedia ed è più di svolgi in base a su chi ti domanda su comità o su pubblico.
How could we define Bertsolaritza in one word? Is it tradition? Is it literature? Is it folklore? Yes, all these words could fit in a wide concept of Basque oral sung improvisation. But the best term is communication. Communication with the audience, communication between improvisers. Bertsolaritza doesn't occur if there is no communication. However, Bertsolaritza is not a mere communication. There are actually 3 conditions that any message needs to fulfill in order to become a bertso. Can you identify them in the following sketch?
Kaixo guztioi, izan asiar, amerikar, europear edo euskaldun, azken finean denok gara mundu berekoak eta denok gara elkarren lagunak, baina askotan besteen ohitura zaharrak edo tradizioak ez ditugu gehiegi ezagutzen, eta horregatik pentsatu dugu gaur hemen denok bildu eta bertsolaritza zer den ikastea. Izan asiar zein amerikar, europear zein euskaldun, guztiok gara mundu bereko, guztiok elkarren lagun, baina besteen ohitura zaharrak ez ditugu hain ezagun, denon artean bertsolaritza zer den ikasi dezagun.
Did you see the 3 differences? Yes, Bertsolaritza is measured, rhyming, sung communication. The performance occurs when the Bertsolari, the person adept in this art, improvises a sung bertso, a poetic speech about a specific theme that has been suggested. The artist must follow strict rules concerning meter and rhyme and only has a few seconds between hearing the theme and starting to sing. The Bertsolari is, as such, a singer who improvises to the public, and the bertso is a complete stanza, even though the term bertso derives from Latin for verse, meaning a single line. Let's dig into the 3 characteristics that transform direct communication into the art of Bertsolaritza.
Orgullo y satisfacción es lo que me ha transmitido.
Bertsolaris, unlike the majority of improvisers known in the world today, perform without the help of any musical instrument. The airs they use to improvise could have 3 origins. They could be traditional folk melodies, popular tunes shared by the whole community. They could be melodies specifically composed to show the tessitura or improvising skills of some particular Bertsolari. Or they could just be a contemporary song with a structure that matches with the metric used to perform bertsos. The air of a bertso is like the soundtrack of a film. Just the first notes let the audience imagine if the improvisation is going to be a hilarious comedy or a sad drama.
Erabakidet, hartu behar det.
Juanito de Ronsoro, the most representative researcher of the field, examined and classified more than 3,150 airs, which are available at bdb.bertsosale.eus. Rhyme is the formal quid of the bertso. Without the rhyme, there is no bertso. Bertsolaris strive at making the entire final syllable of the rhyming words, as well as the vowels in the previous syllables, sound alike. A rhyme is considered poor when only the vowels in the final syllables have the same sound, or if the rhyme is made by adding a suffix or using different forms of the same verb. Rhyme has a double use in oral traditions, and Bertsolaritza is a clear example of both. On one hand, rhymes are the essential guidelines for a bertsolari, since improvised creation is carried out step by step, rhyme by rhyme.
Esperonik neska, galdezka, kezka ez da.
Let's imagine that rhymes are the lights of a landing strip that the pilot, in this case the bertsolari, follows one by one, reaching the end of the runway totally safe. On the other hand, rhymes allow the audience to remember the most significant performances. Since their essence is repetition, the higher the intensity and quality of their consonants, the easier the audience will keep in mind a bertso. Regarding meter, Basque is a non-stressed language that has little differentiation of syllable length, and as a result, Bertsolaritza bases its verses on the number of syllables only. No position of a particular stressed syllable needs to be fixed. As for the number of verses, there's a wide variety of stanzas that can be used. The more the verses, the greater the number of rhymes, and the greater danger of making a mistake, but also greater the possibility of achieving excellence if successfully performed. Contemporary bertsolaris are promoting longer structures that allow them to demonstrate their originality and the soundness of their discourse. However, bertsolaris can never utter what they exactly wish to say. They say what the meter and the rhyming words allow them to say. There does not exist a bertsolari who says what they want to say and at the same time have meter and rhyme. There are bertsolaris who rhyme and use meter, and moreover, who, in moments of lucidity and inspiration, come very close to what they wish to say. And how do bertsolaris improvise? The essence of the question lies in how they can manage, in less than 1 minute, to attract the attention of the recipient and to keep the listener glued to the bertso. To this end, bertsolaris have a basic strategy which is used in a systematic way. Think up the end first. Bertsolaris, on hearing a proposed theme, turn on their mental machinery. They firstly try to find quickly the core ideas of their performance. They think about what they're going to say and intuitively plan in which order they're going to say it, keeping the most potent and elaborate message for the end. Simultaneously, they select the air to sing, which must be consistent with the content of the bertsos. Once the punchline is prepared and the air is chosen, bertsolaris need to check if they have stored enough rhymes in their mind's eye so that they can finish the bertso before running out of them or repeating them. After no more than a minute, bertsolaris start to sing, and as they go along, try to express the subject matter, always supported by memory to ensure that the oral punchline at the end, thought tap at the beginning, has not been forgotten. Everything else that is said throughout the Bertso basically sets the stage, leading up to the final punchline. This is the verse that bears the weight of the entire Bertso, giving it its reason for being. If it's good, it will remain etched in the audience's memory. Let's see a live example. This is Mayalen. Mayalen has agreed to share with us her thoughts. We're going to ask her to sing a Bertso about the following topic. She has a minute before starting to sing, so let's set up the alarm. After a quick brainstorming, she has decided to keep the following sentence for the end. According to the content she's working on, she has chosen a joyful air called She's now checking her rhymes. It seems that she's got plenty of them stored, so she's ready to start singing.
Beti izan naiz ni etxe zulo, autosufizientziz txiro, baina handitzen noan enean mailak behar ditut igo. Agurra itatxo, agurra matxo, esan dieta handikiro. Atea danba arro itxi dut, baina urrundu naiz astiro. Izozkailua usten denean, itzuliko naiz berriro. Izozkailua usten denean, itzuliko naiz berriro.
We almost forgot to say that after each Bertso, the audience is invited to applause. Well done, Mayalen. How strong is the art of Bertsolaris nowadays? There's no doubt that it might be the strongest oral improvised tradition in Europe. Currently, more than 200 Bertsolaris perform in more than 1,700 events that take place in open spaces, theaters, or even restaurants. They learn the secrets of improvisation in one of the 120 Bertso schools that weekly offer classes to newcomers, veterans, and even professionals. These non-formal schools were created at the beginning of the 80s, a time when it was thought that Bertsolaritza was an innate talent that could not be learned. Thanks to the Bertso Escolas and the prominent work of Xavier Amuriza, who wrote the first methods to learn verse singing, nowadays Bertsolaritza is an art accessible for every Basque speaker, to the point that many Bertsolaris come from families that don't speak Basque. As for age, gender, or origin, there is no standard Bertsolari. For instance, in the National Championship of 2017, 13 women and 30 men took part, all from different ages and regions of the Basque Country. The youngest Bertsolaris are not even in their 20s, and they can share the scene with the oldest performers, 80-year-old men. Since the beginning of the 21st century, women are gaining momentum in festivals and contests, and the art itself is evolving with new topics and approaches. The typology of events in which Bertsolaris take part can vary depending on the context and the amount of performers. They can be symbol performances, which consist of two improvisers singing for the guests in a restaurant right after a meal, a full Bertsolari act in the main square of a village during patron saints' festivities and fairs, or 6 Bertsolari festivals in local theaters and frontons. Many examples can be found at bertsoa.eus, a website with the most updated Bertso events. In 1987, Bertsolaris founded Bertsozale Elkartea, or the Association of Friends of Bertsolaritza, with the intention to preserve and promote their art. This non-profit making socio-cultural entity brings together more than 2,500 Bertsolaris and supporters of Bertsolaritza. The association is in charge of the organization of regional and national contests, the promotion of the art in radio, television, and the internet, the inclusion of the art in primary education, and the systematic archiving of significant events and publications related to Bertsolaritza. For more information, check bertsosale.eus.
Beti ez du goitik bera egiten, transmisioaren trentzak, guk beti gora ikasi dugu, ta zabaldu muga ertzak, lehengoekin ta gaurkoengandik, txapelau gerokoentzat, lehengoekin ta gaurkoengandik, txapelau gerokoentzat.
Querétaro, orgullo de México.